Hi folks, HR Funk here with my IWI Masada Slim, and some of you know that I am a big fan of the IWI Masada line, and the Masada Slim, or 9S, is essentially my everyday carry semi-automatic pistol. And recently, IWI came out with a couple of accessories for the Masada Slim, and both of them are accessory frames. Now, conveniently, the Masada Slim, like the full-size Masada, has an interchangeable fire control unit, so I can take that fire control unit from the existing frame and drop it into one of those accessory frames, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. I had a chance to shoot the Masada Slim with both of the new frames when I attended the gathering down in South Carolina a few weeks ago, but I only got to shoot them a little bit, so I came away feeling that they shot pretty well, but I want to do a more extensive shooting session with them. And what I'm going to do in this video is transfer my fire control unit from the existing frame to the Masada Slim Elite Grip Module. This is one of the two new frames that they came out with, and I ordered this from the IWI website. It costs about $60, so it's not particularly expensive. It does come with 3 interchangeable back straps, and also the only thing I have to transfer over other than the fire control unit is the magazine catch. And I'm not going to be able to show you in this video actually transferring the fire control and the magazine catch from the existing frame to the new frame, but on the IWI website, there is a great video that shows you exactly how to do that. So if you're interested in this and you want to see how to do it, go to the IWI site. In fact, if you find this frame in the IWI store, the video is attached to the link for this frame. So just go there, find this frame, click on that, and you'll find the video. But let me get to work and transfer this over right now. And right here in the shop, I can compare the two frames side by side and show you some of the differences between this one and the original Masada Slim frame. So here's my Masada Slim all decked out in its new Elite Grip Module, and the transfer from the old frame to the new frame for the fire control unit and the magazine release was very straightforward and quite easy, especially after watching that video I mentioned that's on the IWI website. In fact, I'm going to put a link to that video in the information section of this video, so if any of you want to watch that, all you have to do is go to the information section, click on that link, and you can go to the IWI site and watch that. Comparing the new frame to the old frame, we see several differences, beginning with the fact that the texturing is much more coarse on the new frame than it was on the old frame. And if I bring that up here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this in just looking at it, but it definitely is a little smoother on the old frame. We also have some texturing in areas where we did not have it on the old frame. Specifically here at the front for either a thumbs forward hold or for your index point for your trigger finger if you don't have it on the trigger. The undercut behind the trigger guard is a little higher on the new frame than it is on the old frame to help get a little higher grip on the pistol. The magazine well is flared to assist with loading the magazine, or I should say inserting the magazine. And of course we have the equipment rail on the front right here for adding lights and lasers. And that was one of the things that some folks did not like on the original grip frame. They wanted to be able to add those things. The other big departure for the Elite Grip Module is the interchangeable backstrap system. And I mentioned this earlier, there is a small, a medium, and a large. And typically when I swap out backstraps, I gravitate toward the largest backstrap option. That normally seems to work the best for me. But this time around, when I was trying these out, the small grip insert worked the best for me. That was the one that most naturally brought the optic to my shooting eye. So if you're looking at this grip module, in all likelihood, you're going to be able to find one of these that's going to work best for you as well. Essentially, with the new grip, IWI has addressed all of the complaints that some folks had with the original Masada Slim. Now, I liked the original Masada Slim. I always thought it shot very, very well, and I am really looking forward to getting out on the range and being able to spend some time with this new grip and seeing what I think of it in actual live fire defensive drills. All right, folks, as you can see, I've arrived on the range with the Masada Slim outfitted with the new Elite Grip Module kit. It's time to start doing some shooting and see what I'm going to think of it. I'm going to start out with some controlled pairs at a distance of 5 yards. Let's see how it goes. I want to get a feel for reloading with this new grip module kit with the flared magazine well. So I have the Masada Slim loaded with 2 rounds. I'm going to fire a controlled pair, reload, and then go right into a second controlled pair, and I'll do this 3 times. Not bad. I've got all these shots nicely centered in the chest, except I think this was the second shot in my first time through the drill. So this was the very last shot out of the first 4 that I fired. And this one, I just was on the trigger a little too fast before I came back down out of the recoil and squeezed off that shot. Other ones are looking good. The reload is feeling very good as far as inserting the magazine into the magazine well. As you saw, I need to work on my reloads a little bit more with this pistol because there was a couple of times that I didn't quite get the slide released when I wanted to, but I made my way through and managed to get my shots on target at least. So now, let's try some 7-yard failure drills. This is going to be 2 shots to the body and 1 shot to the head. I think I'll try a few reloads in this drill too, just to see how they keep going. So again, everything pretty nicely centered in the chest, all heart and lung shots right there. Headshots are in the head. The headshots are not quite as precise as I'd like them to be. I'd like them to be in this little area up here. But with the tempo at which I was shooting those, coming right up and squeezing off as soon as I had a sight picture, I must have just been a little heavy on the trigger and I was pulling those shots a bit low. In any case, as I said, as far as the Masada Slim is performing in this new grip module, I think it's doing just fine. And those reloads are getting easier and easier. I just need to practice. So now I'm going to back off to a distance of 15 yards and fire a few shots from back there, and we'll see how things go this time around. So all but one stayed in the center chest from that distance of 15 yards. The overall group size is not bad. I'm starting to notice a tendency for these shots to drift to the left, and I'm wondering if I'm going to have to re-zero my optic as a result of changing that grip frame, and maybe it's causing a little difference in my grip, or at least the way I'm coming out of recoil, and I'm pulling these shots a little bit to the left. In any case, I'm going to go back to 25 yards and test that theory, because if so, we're going to continue to see these shots moving farther and farther to the left. So all the shots are staying on the chest from that distance of 25 yards. I've got this one wandering over somewhat. And by the way, I am going to have to re-zero my optic because I was holding on this edge of the dark big square here as I was shooting those 5 shots, and clearly they are continuing to drift farther and farther to the left. So that'll be an order of business I have to take care of before I leave the range today. That's a little more like it. Everything's staying inside that large square center chest from that distance of 25 yards. So that makes me happy after that one sight correction. So thoughts on the IWI Masada Elite Grip Module. Overall, I like it. It feels good. I'm going to stick with this small back strap. I'm still coming up and pretty much picking up the sight as soon as I bring it to my eyes. You might have noticed a couple of times I had to make a little bit of an adjustment before I could start to press the trigger, but not much. I like the texturing for my support thumb and my index point for my trigger finger when I'm not shooting. There's no problem with the release of the magazine or reloading, other than, as I said, I just need to practice that a little bit more with this pistol. I like the fact that if I want to, I can add accessories to the front. I probably won't. And one thing that I checked before I came out here was that this will still fit the same holster that I typically carry this handgun in. I was a little worried about that with the addition of the equipment rail to the front of the frame, but that was no problem whatsoever. One thing I neglected to mention, and I'll come up close to the camera so hopefully you can see this, is there is texturing, or there are some grooves, maybe I should say, to the front of the trigger guard right there. That's another thing that's different from the original frame. And for anyone that uses a finger forward hold, you'll have that additional gripping surface there on the front of the trigger guard. So for 60 bucks, it's a little like getting a brand new pistol for not much money, because the handling characteristics are familiar, but they're enhanced, which is the whole purpose of this grip module. And overall, as I said, I like it quite a bit. So that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember to stop by my website, hrfunk.com. Check out all the news and information going on there so you can see the latest things happening with me and the channel. And also check out the products page, because a lot of the products that I've reviewed have a link to the manufacturer on that page, and there's information beneath a lot of those links that'll save you some money if you decide to make a purchase. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.